Good enough. But I was saying that the main skills that you build from sticking to the process and reading the script all the way through, having a 30-minute script offer call. The main skill building areas is the intro, the motivation conversation, and then at the end, giving your offer and giving a whole virtual withdrawal number, right? Those are gonna help you at because I'm referring to, giving 10 offers and 30 conversations. It's better to have 3 offers that are 30 minutes, because in each of those things, that means 3 times throughout the day for at least 30 minutes, you practiced giving a good intro and setting expectations and letting people know who you are, why you're calling, and why they should listen, and setting up the expectations. That way it helps you to also set expectations for everything else in life. Like when you're getting a contract signed and you're telling them about the inspection period, or about the walkthrough, or they might ask you questions of what if you back out, or are you going to back out, things like that. You get better at handling those objections because you get better at the intro. You're building the skill of explaining everything through the intro, having a correct, proper intro, and learning how to say the intro in different ways really helps you build that skill, and it'll help you overcome objections. Same thing with the motivation. That skill is priceless that you learn in there, right? That's why it's so important to have 30-minute conversations, because if you're having 10-minute conversations and giving these offers, well, you're not building any skills, right? We want to build the skill of sales. We want to build this, learn how to have a sales process. So there's only 7 motivation questions in the script, right? And you have to make a 20 to 25 minute conversation out of just 7 questions. And you can't do that by just asking the questions one by one by one. What's got you wanting to sell the house? How long have you been thinking about selling the house? How does your wife feel about you selling the house? How is this affecting your family? When you say things like that, in that order, word for word, they're gonna look at you like you're crazy, and they're gonna be like, "Why are you asking me this? This has nothing to do with my house." So that skill of that, just having that 30-minute conversation, making sure that your each offer call is 30 minutes, you get better at freestyling a conversation, but keeping it within the bounds of the motivation and fact find part of the process. It's not easy, and all beginner wholesalers have problems with that. They're like, I have a problem getting the seller to open up, or I have the seller doesn't want to tell me why he wants to sell. He just wants to get straight to the offer. We got to overcome that. Every single day, we got to learn how to handle those objections. But just that part of the fact find part, the motivation part, learning how to make a 25-minute to 35-minute conversation just out of 7 to 8 questions is a skill in and of itself. It helps you to use problem-solving skills. It helps you to think fast, be sharp. It builds your conversation skills, because you learn how to interrupt people, and you learn how to slow it down. You learn how to take control, right? And again, you learn how to overcome objections, especially because I already have the skill from the intro. Now when it's time to the fact find, and I'm asking these questions that I might sound a little awkward, he might be like, "What's the point of all these questions? This doesn't have anything to do with the house." Now you get better at it, just explaining. Just like how you would explain in the intro to set the expectations, you explain in the fact find when he says, "What does this have to do with my house?" "Well, sir, it has everything to do with the house. I'm an acquisitions manager. I make 90 offers a day," right? So what I found is, and I've been doing this for quite some time, and what I found is that the people who get the most amount of money for their house when it comes to us giving them an offer and buying their house is the ones who gave us the most information and helped us to get the most details about the house. So that's all I'm trying to do here, Mr. Seller. I just want to make sure that before I go back to my underwriters, that I can make sure that I get you as much money as humanly possible. because this isn't like a traditional normal real estate transaction. I'm actually on your side. I'm trying to help you. Does that make sense? And then you just move on, with it. But you get better at that. And then also there's another micro skill inside of the fact find, about interrupting, how to interrupt someone. Because, you have the talkers, but then you have the people who are just a-holes. But either way, how to properly interrupt someone, with an acknowledgement, or that's how you fall into or go down the rabbit hole of fact finding and their real motivation, because they'll say something in a sentence about that. Yeah, me and my wife have lived here for 50 years. Just for example, right? Me and my wife, or how long have you lived there? Oh, me and my wife been here for 40. You and the wife, huh? Oh, I didn't know you was married. You would say, just so I don't have to keep calling. After you say wife about like 3 times, it could be 1, 2, or 3 times. After I say wife for the 3rd time, I'm like, by the way, just so I don't have to keep calling her your wife, my apologies, but what's her name? Or just so I don't have to keep calling her your wife, what's her name? What's your wife's name? Tammy. Yeah, so how long have you and Tammy been? So from then on out, I know I'm intentionally using Tammy's name. For example, I don't know who Tammy is, but or if he's like, yeah, it's down the street from da-da-da, my kids went there. Oh, your kids went there? Really? How old the kids? How many kids you got? God bless you. I don't have any kids myself as of yet, but I do have a niece and a nephew. One's 7, one's 4. I just start talking about that, but that's a skill that I built up from asking those motivation questions, from having so many conversations and forcing, the conversation to be long enough to where it's like, okay, I can move on now, right? And I'm getting all the information I want. It's not just like random interruptions. It's intentional, targeted interruptions to get them to talk about the shit that I need them to talk about, which is their pain point and their true motivation. And then the last thing, so that's boom. So that's the intro. And then that's the fact find, the motivation, digging that up, and then the end, bro. Giving that virtual withdrawal number is so important. That skill and the offer. So the virtual withdrawal number is a part of the offer. So that's that when you come off that second hold. First of all, the holds unbeatable. The holds, like, that's such a genius idea. But that virtual withdrawal number, it's building the skill within you to this is also helping you overcome objections and just ultimately just raising your overall sales skills to give that virtual withdrawal number. Because like I said, at first it seems unnecessary, it seems long, it seems like scammy, it's like, why can't I just give them the offer? This is so unnecessary. You fighting all that off and doing it without thinking, you're building that skill of how to explain complicated things, right? It's not complicated once you understand it, once you get it, but now you're building the skill of taking some sort of complex idea that actually isn't even really there and learning how to explain, simplify, and articulate it in a way that anybody can understand it, or in a way that the seller completely understands it. A virtual withdrawal number. What's a virtual withdrawal number? Like, you have to be able to explain that when they ask. That's just going to help objection overcoming skills, as well as giving that correct offer. Like, they came up so much higher than what I thought. Do you have a pen and a paper? It's practicing taking control. Selling, it's like literally that's the definition of selling. Like, they came up all the way up. They came up way higher than what I thought they were going to come in at. And this is honestly the first one that they approved for me all week. Mr. Seller, can you do me a huge favor? Can you grab a pen and a paper, because I'm about to give you some important information, and I just want to make sure that you have all my information as well. That way, you truly do know who you're talking to, or something like that, But I'm just saying, that's selling, hyping it up, putting some sizzle on it. That's learning how to put the sizzle. But if you go out here and you act like every other fucking wholesaler that's out here, because I guarantee you, bro, there's thousands, if not millions of wholesalers. a day on Zillow, Redfin, all these other things, calling these exact same people, calling them and getting straight to the house and then making them an offer. Like, we need to stand out. But not just standing out in the short term sets you up for success, like setting yourself up apart from the competition, but also you're building massive skills that the competition is not going to have. They have so many wholesalers that are just, in a year from now, they'll say they never got their first wholesale deal. And it's because they weren't willing to stick with the process. And I mean, they quit. Like they can't even go through they can't even go through this process, let alone their own process. They try to figure it out on their own, try to call as many people, go into the pitch, and then make an offer. Like, they're not even building skills. They're not gonna get a deal, one, and they're not gonna have the skills, two, to keep getting deals. So I'm just saying, Luke, I know you're hella smart, but I'm telling you, that brain will fuck you over by just you're trying to iterate the process too early, right? You have no right, I don't know how else to say it, you have no right to iterate my process. That sounds like egotistical, but I'm saying anybody's process who's ahead of you. You have no right to do that. I mean, if you want to see success, I mean, especially if you pay someone, it's like you paid for a shortcut and you paid to skip a learning curve. So this is how you do that. You do these hard, difficult things that nobody else wants to do. Like, I did it, and all the successful students do it. And then in hindsight, then you'll start to understand why you're doing it, why you did it. And you're going to be grateful because you're going to be like, oh, I have the skill now. Like, you're going to catch yourself in some other conversation, maybe on the street or maybe another cold call somewhere, and you're going to be like, damn, I am pretty good. Or like somebody else is going to hear you and be like, damn, you're pretty good. You know, that's how it was with me. Like, I just hammered the phones. And then eventually when I started the Discord, they were like, how do you do that? I was like, what? Just read the script. You know, I wasn't as good of a coach back then. Like, I couldn't explain the nuances like I can now, but yeah. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Did you have a question or wanted to add on to anything I said?
No, you pretty much cover everything.
Yeah. So just make sure that you just stick to that whole process. It sucks, and your brain is going to fight back against it. Because you probably got a dopamine hit from, I know you did. You got a little dopamine hit from saying, I had 30 offers, and I had 10 offers, I had 30 conversations, I had like 6 text offers. Like, you get a little ego hit from saying that, or a little dopamine hit. That's the same thing would happen with me. Like I said, I went from 100 conversations to 20 conversations. I had to take a hit to my ego, but I had to do what was best for me and do what was best for the business. And that's not lying to myself or telling myself that I did such a high number of reps when really none of those reps really mattered. None of those reps were important, and they weren't moving the needle. At least not as much as the other stuff, like the quality numbers. So if you do 20 conversations and 3 script offers is a full day's worth of work. Always, every day out the week. That is a full day of work, bro. So get good at that. I think you'll see success faster. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Just, you have to get used to the pain, because it's painful. Like, bro, it's painful. It's maybe not as painful when you're only staying on the phone for 10 minutes and you're getting straight to the point and you're giving them the offer quick. It's probably not as painful. It's not, or it's not as it might be just as much, tedious, but it's not painful at all. Maybe a little bit painful. It's not as painful. Because when you're going through the 30-minute script offer call, you're fighting against your natural like instincts of like, fuck, I want to get off this conversation. Like, okay, she's not asking the right price. Move on. You know, part of your brain is thinking like, okay, this guy's obviously an asshole. He's not budging from his price. Let's just move on. Just give him an offer just to say I gave him an offer and then move on. Like,
Yeah.
that will fuck you up. That you will miss the whole point of everything that you're doing and fuck up your learning curve. Now you're going through trial and error on your own, like through a different path. That's not what you paid for. Right? You paid to do the shit that works. I'm telling you, like, so it's more painful to do it my way, obviously, because my way, I'm not saying other people's way doesn't work, but I'm saying anything worth having is not easy, and giving 10 offers and getting off the phone with people that we think that aren't going to budge on price, that's easy. Keeping them on the phone for 30 minutes and trying to get them to like us, trust us, and want to do business with us, that's not fucking easy. And no beginner is really going to, unless they were like me or any of my other students in the past who just got it on day one, like they understood, like they're not here to get just a deal, they're here to get better and learn how to run a business. So they never tried to shortcut shit. So they did the work and they got it as soon as they got the results, as soon as I promised them the results. It's 90 days or less. Luke, if you hit 20 conversations and 3 offers, the correct definition of those KPIs and offering a conversation, if you do those every single day for 90 days consecutively, it is literally impossible for you to not get a deal. But it has to be consecutive. Every day. Don't miss a single day. And they have to be 30-minute offer calls. You know? That shit is guaranteed to get you a wholesale deal. No matter what. So, with that knowledge there, even though I tell that to, students, their brain, it's just the way, I guess, the human brain works. They still try to fight against it. Be like, yeah, okay, well, still I want to try my way. And they just postpone their success. But yeah, if I make a guarantee, it's a guarantee. But it's only contingent upon you doing the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I completely understand your philosophy on everything you just told me. And yeah, you're right. I did pay for this, and even though it is painful to, complete the KPIs and, go through the trial and error, it's what I ultimately signed up for anyway. So yeah, no, I don't think my brain's ever fought against anything that you taught me, but it does ask questions, or it's curious about how things work. Like the pause you said earlier, like when I first read the script, the first time ever, I didn't notice the 2 pause, and I just thought to myself, what makes this strategy so effective? Why pause 3 minutes and come back and ask them oh, what's the age of the roof and the age of the HVAC? Is the window original? Stuff like that.
Yeah. But
eventually, when I just stopped asking those questions to myself and I just go through the script, and I just remember where you told me just follow the process, and it just got easier, and I just stopped naturally and subconsciously asking myself that question.
That's right. That's exactly right, dude. It's normal to do that. Yeah. It happens to everybody. Just about almost every student when they go through, they'll go to a fucking, let me give an analogy. It's like you go to I'm trying to give an example. Some sort of master at something. I'm thinking Kung Fu, a Kung Fu master. And you come in there, you never did Kung Fu before, but you know, you beat some kid up at school one time, so you think you're hot shit. And then so you go to the
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You go
So
and then hold on, just let me finish the analogy because I I gotta finish it in my head. So you go to the Kung Fu master, you know, thinking that you're hot shit, but he's been doing this for like, you know, 56 years. He's killed like 20 people with his bare hands, and like you don't even know because he on the outside maybe he looks like an old man. And so you start taking his classes, and then like he starts teaching you how to like, you know, punch so hard that you could kill a man with your bare hand. He's like, yeah, but I punch like this. Or my hand doesn't work that way. I gotta punch like this. Oh, well, that's just not how I punch. You know, it's like, okay, well, then you're never gonna learn how to powerfully punch somebody to where you could kill them, right? Or whatever. You know the analogy that I'm trying to give. It's like,
absolutely, yeah.
because I had to learn how to deal with students like that in the beginning. That was like the first lesson I learned as a coach, is that people would come and pay me to be their coach, and then they would come in here and they would refuse to do any of the shit I told them to do. I would just give them clear instructions, and they would come back the next day, be like, did you hear your KPIs? No. I made 10 offers though. I think that's more efficient. I'm not saying about you though, but I'm just saying like, just that's an example. Like, okay, but I learned, and then also in the beginning, like students would used to like, they would try to argue with me. Not like argue like raising our voice and going back and forth, but like kind of like that, but like they would be like, this is how I do it. I know that this works because this is how I do it, and I've been doing it like this, and I love the way I talk, like da da da. And it was like that day I just realized I look like an idiot if I argue with any of my students. Like I look like the idiot if I'm trying to argue with you, because what is there to argue about? Just look at the context of the situation. You paid me because I have something that you don't, and I'm trying to show you how to get it, but you want to do it your own way. That's when I realized like I can never argue with a student. Like, but it's also like, okay, I understand that I have to help a lot of students get over that. Put their ego to the side. Put your thoughts to the side. Like, just don't think and just do the process, and then afterwards you could think, after you get the results. Then you could, like, try to, like, you know, reflect on all the skills you built and all the life lessons you've learned. But yeah.
Definitely. Also, I have a question.
Yeah.
So, can you tell me, like, the intention behind the multiple documents about the today's objective? Like, are these just like mental notes you're supposed to take in before you start your day? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. So I made those when I first started this Discord. In the beginning of every Discord, I made that. So I would wake up at 3 a.m., do my routine, and so at like 5 a.m. I would just start writing that, and I would have a new daily objective every single day, and we would just go over those lessons. But I stopped doing that over time. You know, because like stuff like this, like only you would show up. But they're in there, and they're like really, really good notes. So I just kept them in there. Like they're really good notes, all of them. Like
Absolutely.
I made videos from those notes. Like I like, and the notes were all for the students, and it was all for like training and getting them to be better. So if you want to read those are very, very important. All of them.
Oh yeah, no. So I just recently got a printer, and I'm planning to print literally every single one of those things. And I think I'm gonna add that to my morning routine before I start cold calling, and just like read them either out loud or just read them in general, like through all 13 of those documents.
Hell yeah. That's the deal.
Also,